What is going on, y'all? This is the Caveman. I'm here with Football with Oz Austin for episode 81 of Against the Blitz. We're here in week 15 to discuss the results of what was a fun but also extremely cursed week for a lot of different reasons. It had me feeling conflicted as a football fan, but we'll get into that, of course, in a couple seconds. If you want to join the Discord, link down in the description as always, talking fantasy. If you're in your fantasy playoffs, this was a big week. A lot of big players came and showed out. A lot of very random players had good weeks. So if you want to talk about that and any other football stuff or whatever else is on your mind, that is linked down in the description below. But as always, we're going to start with the Thursday night game. The Falcons and Buccaneers. That was a barn burner, 29-28. The Falcons came out on top. And my primary thought with this game was the Buccaneers to Kirk Cousins are what the Falcons are to Bryce Young. For whatever reason, whenever these two guys step on the field against those teams specifically, they just torch everything in front of them. It's insane.
And it's specifically on prime time. And that was a note that I made, was like Kirk Cousins made an entire career out of being terrible in prime time. And now that he's a backup quarterback, he can't play at 1 o'clock, but he is unbelievable on prime time and against a divisional opponent. Like, to somehow deliver 166 yards and 3 touchdowns to Kyle Pitts, he's been good this year, but like, he's never done anything close to that. And it's like that's triple the amount of touchdowns he had in his rookie season alone, his best season. So yeah, I'm not sure what they're feeding Kirk every time he plays in Tampa or plays against Tampa, but like keep doing it, please.
Yeah, I mean, it was the first time I feel like since he's gotten to Atlanta where, I guess outside of the last time he played Tampa Bay where he threw for like 500 yards, where I was thinking like, okay, maybe this guy actually does have a future somewhere. He's one of these guys that just kind of floats and exists and everyone kind of forgets about him. But it's like, man, Kirk Cousins used to be something. He's not that old. And we're seeing, 44-year-old Phillip Rivers get pulled out of retirement to play. We're seeing Aaron Rodgers at 41 playing still at a high level. Stafford's 37. He's around Kirk Cousins' age. It's like Kirk, it feels like Kirk is like that grandparent that acts way older than they are. It's like, you can probably still walk or drive. You just choose not to. That's what it feels like with Kirk. Like, he's not that old or that bad, at least as he should be.
No, he's old enough to retire and nobody would bat an eye. But he's also old enough where, like, you could tell me he plays another 3 years and I'd believe it. Like, it's not that crazy.
Right. Agreed. And one of the big conversations with the Kyle Pitts connection was whether or not the draft pick of Drake London has really, like, stunted or capped his ceiling. And I saw that being kicked around a lot as Kyle just went on to score 3 touchdowns. I do think to some extent that's true. But on the other hand, I think that is also just a cop-out. Like, we're going to try and find another reason why Kyle Pitts wasn't good. It was Arthur Smith, and then it was his injury. And then it was, okay, maybe he just isn't good. But now we're back to finding another reason, and it's because Drake London has kind of stolen the role that he was supposed to play, which, like I said, to some extent is fair. But there's been more than just like volume problems. There's been more than just like finding a role for him issues. It's been Kyle Pitts underperforming. And I don't know. I didn't like that was being like presented in that way.
I mean, it's hard because like it's hard to argue against it because like London misses like 1 game and all of a sudden Kyle Pitts becomes like the best version of himself ever. I feel like part of it's mental too. Like, this is definitely like the toughest, hungriest I've ever seen him play. Like, he was going after the football. He was playing hard. He was emotional, which is like not a Kyle Pitts thing ever. So maybe part of it was like understanding he was now like the alpha dog and he had to go feast. I don't know if that was part of it. And he kind of feels like he's just a secondary option when Drake London's there. I don't know. But like, I feel like it is kind of silly to say that because like I know a lot of people think that he's supposed to be like a downfield threat, a vertical guy. You can have multiple vertical guys on the same team. You can have multiple slot guys killing it on the same team. If you have multiple good weapons on the same team, you find ways to do them. And that's where like the Arthur Smith argument comes in and the play calling argument. And I do get it because I don't think Kyle Pitts should be playing like a traditional tight end. Like he shouldn't be getting tight end routes. He shouldn't be, running 3 yards and turning around all the time, trying to block all the time. But yeah, I mean, I think changing around his role a little bit did help a lot, but I think also it was just him stepping up.
Yeah, agreed. And that was really the case with a bunch of the Falcons' individual players. There were a lot of guys like Kirk, like Kyle, and like Bijan. He was moving different. Like he had that almost catch on the sideline where he twirled and almost got his feet down with one hand, catching that ball with one hand. I mean, what the fuck? Like, how nice it must be to have a running back that can do stuff like that. And they're playing pointless 4-8 or 4-9 football games. It's just what a disaster. And that goes to that just kind of bundles into my next point where I can't say it anymore, but Raheem Morris has to go. His time has to be up. They took literally, let me double check the count here. The Atlanta Falcons were penalized 19 times for 125 yards in this game. If that isn't the most undisciplined showing on primetime ever, I don't know what is. And they won. It just, like, Raheem Morris is like yelling into the camera as they kick the game-winning field goal. It's like, buddy, you didn't deserve that either. Like, you did nothing to earn this victory, just like the Buccaneers sold it to you for a penny. So I just hope that there aren't, like, for the sake of Falcons fans, so maybe second thoughts in the back of the mind of Arthur Blank. Like, oh, that was a good win. Or if they finish out the year strong, then, maybe they start to reconsider. But man, like it just wasn't a game that you should feel good about, even if you won, because if you lose, you feel terrible. 19 penalties. Like, what do you do with that?
Yeah, the way he was speaking, not only in that video, but just like on the sidelines, being the most emotional I've ever seen him be, it kind of felt like there was some kind of ultimatum going down where, like, if you don't win this game, like, you're fired. Like, this was definitely a man fighting for his job as a head coach, and they won. Like, kudos, congrats. But yeah, still, like, the amount of penalties they had, it required kind of a lot of luck, a lot of inches on really big plays and touchdowns that went their way. And down the stretch, a lot of collapsing on the Buccaneers front and on their coaching as well. Kind of just fell right into the hands of Atlanta. But yeah, I don't think I could say that Raheem Morris comfortably outcoached anybody all season, really, at all.
No, like it really was just the Buccaneers collapsing. A comeback like that, they were down 14 with like 8 minutes left. A comeback like that, of course, requires execution from one team, but it always is going to require a domino or two to fall in your favor. And that brings me to really my last point with Tampa is Baker Mayfield looked bad in this game. And I made a video about it, and I was quite surprised as to how many people didn't see it that way. Like, Baker at times looked like Denver Russell Wilson in the pocket, just like running in circles aimlessly, not looking downfield, but also not finding any ability to get rid of the football. And I've come to realize it's something that I also want to talk about, maybe in depth further. But if you've ever realized, anytime Baker Mayfield has scrambled and had a big run or escaped a pass rush where it's like, oh my God, how did he get out of that? It's always through a gap on the interior. It's very rarely does he escape outside the tackles. And he kept trying to do it in this game. We're trying to find the A gap, trying to find the B gap, trying to find space where there's a lot of human mass. It's like, dude, there's no space there. Like, stop trying to do it. And he just refused to roll out. I don't know. It makes you think, like, should this be the end of the Baker, the Evans, the Godwin, the Bulls? Like, should this be it for this iteration of the Bucs? I want to say yes, but the Panthers also just re-gifted them life. So,
yeah, I mean, I don't think so. I mean, they were doing so good to start the year. Like, I don't want to excuse it because it's his left shoulder, but like, his downfall happened when he got hurt. Like, he was killing it. Like, he was an MVP candidate for like the beginning half of the season, and then he tears his shoulder up and then starts playing bad. So I don't know if there's like a direct correlation there. It's kind of the same thing as when he played in Cleveland, where he also hurt his non-throwing shoulder and played terribly, and they kicked him out. They booed him out of town, like traded for Watson. He left, and then becomes really good again once he's healthy, and then he gets hurt again, and now he's bad, and people hate him again. Like, I think they're just need to stop letting him play through injuries. It's going to be worse, but that's not really on him. Like, he's going to play whenever he gets the chance to.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we've had two franchises now take the same approach, and the results appear to be the same. So maybe it's time where, if Baker's hurt, Baker sits. It shouldn't be too hard. They're losing games anyway, so what's the fucking difference?
Yeah. I mean, we watched a couple weeks ago, like he tried to throw a Hail Mary, and he was screaming in pain on the ground, holding his other shoulder. Like, it's causing him so much pain to torque and throw these footballs. Like, clearly something is extremely wrong with this man, and he's just not. He's just fine with it.
Yeah, he's got Jackson-Dart syndrome, or vice versa.
I mean, I would still take that over Kyle Trask or Teddy Bridgewater currently. Like, that's still a much better product than what Teddy Bridgewater was showing, but still, not good for them.
No, it's not. I mean, they had a chance to close it out when they were driving the field, and Baker threw that pick. That wasn't great. And then the last drive where they could have still salted the game away, he misses Buka wide open on a crossing route, and then he takes a sack on a play where there was very clearly pressure coming, and he just does not try at all to find an answer to it. So I don't know. It's got me on the fence thinking about where you go as the Tampa organization. Like, I'm not to the extent that, like, Theo is, where he's, constantly taking the internet by storm by saying that Baker's not even a top 20 quarterback. But I think I do agree with them to some extent that I don't know if you can win a Super Bowl with Baker. Like, how long throughout the course of a season can you go until, like, he gets banged up and this starts to happen again? Like,
yeah,
it does make you wonder.
It's just the argument of, like, how easy is it actually to find a quarterback that could ever be even as good as him? I mean, I would go as far to say he's their second best quarterback since, like, the 80s.
Yeah.
It's like Tom Brady was their best one. Then it's like Jameis Winston was like a breath of fresh air. You had like Vinny Testaverde and like Brad Johnson getting like 10 points a game on his way to the Super Bowl. Like, the Buccaneers have not been blessed with great quarterback play for their entire life. So to have a guy that threw for like 30-something touchdowns last year, was killing it, started off super hot this season, and he cooled down after he got hurt, and his entire team and line and everything got hurt. And then once they cooled down, like, I can't say that's quite the end. Like, I think I would like to see a full season of him healthy, his team healthy, and them genuinely being bad. Like, they're not a bad team still. Like, they're very much still in playoff contention. So I definitely wouldn't say it's time to quit on him, but I do think the decisions of the coaching, I think the fact that they gave up a third and 28 to lose the game was the biggest tragedy of the entire thing. So I think that's where I would probably go.
Agreed. Yeah, a change has to be made, period. Like, it feels like running this operation back would be silly in its entirety. So yeah, I would agree that if anything is going to happen, Todd Bowles is where it starts, is where I would start. Out of everything I've said about Baker, I still would start with Todd Bowles through and through. So weird state of the NFC South. Very, very, very weird. Which I guess could segue into why the Buccaneers even still have a chance, because the Carolina Panthers apparently don't want the NFC South either.
Saints do.
Yeah,
they can't, but like they're playing like a team that does. Like, their defense was feisty. Olave looked good. Shuck looked good. Like, Shuck genuinely looked like a quarterback that would make you not want to draft one next year. Like, if they don't draft a quarterback in the first, I won't be mad after what he's shown so far.
Agreed. Yeah, he's got me eating crow more and more now, and I think that's good. Obviously the Saints want to feel like they have that position locked down and secure. It's just one of those things where I don't know, even if he continues to play like this throughout the course of the rest of the season, you still don't know. Although it's worth finding out at the same time. So they're not going to be in a situation, to their credit, I should say, they're not going to be within range to draft a quarterback that's, even worth trying to replace Shuck with. And I think this class, the more I learn about it, is just going to be relatively thin anyway. So this would be the year to stick with a guy like Shuck, and you wouldn't be blamed. You wouldn't be ridiculed. So it's honestly working out for what has been a very interesting coaching staff and decision-making regime, if you will. Odd, but it's forming somehow.
Yeah, that's kind of a thought I had was even like between the Panthers, I have an easier time fixing the Saints than I do fixing the Panthers. Even though the Panthers have had far more success, it's kind of just felt like they've slapped a bunch of Band-Aids on a bunch of different positions. And they've done well with it. Like they've won some games with it. But the Saints, like it's very clear how they're going to have to attack this offseason. And it's very easy, I think, to draft for them and to, pick their free agency. They have the money to do it. They have the guys retiring. But for the Panthers, it's like the quarterback of the future is still iffy. We've talked about that 1,000 times. We've talked about how they've invested multiple first-round picks into receivers. And still today, by far, their best receiver was Jalen Coker. And he kind of has been the last couple weeks. So the ways to fix this team are still not really clear.
No, not at all. And even the solution that they thought they had for, a little bit of time was Enrico Dowdle and even Chuba. But the run game really wasn't even able to carry them to a win this week. Like you score 17 points on, I guess they were playing away, but scoring 17 points against the New Orleans Saints in itself isn't great. And the fact that you had this game in hand, I mean, I think they were leading for most of it, were they not? 10-7.
I think they had a good lead for a good chunk of that game off the top of my head. Yeah, I mean, regardless, if you're a playoff team, there's really no reason at all that you should be losing games this late in the season to the Saints. Like you're a team that has been trying to scrap your way into the playoffs for so long this year. It doesn't really feel like you've proven anything when you're losing to teams like the Saints.
Agreed. Like they come off of that massive win over the Rams, and they were on a bye last week, right? I think
the Panthers were, yes.
So
because I was a Dowdle owner in a lot of leagues.
Okay, yeah. So you go beating the Rams in such an impressive fashion. You're proving to everybody that this is it. We are for real. You go into a bye week riding this high, prepared to steal the division from the Bucs, who just hand wrapped it to you, and then you drop a game to a division rival that you have no business losing to. So yeah, like you said, you don't know what the Panthers are. We still don't know what the Panthers are. Bryce Young, just uninspiring again. Like you can't throw for like the run game had, outside of Bryce himself, had about 70 yards rushing, 80 yards rushing. Bryce had 50 of his own. But it's like if the run game isn't working, at some point you got to be able to rely on Bryce. And they can't consistently. They did when they beat the Rams, and that's when it finally felt like, okay, maybe this is something. There is realness, authenticity. But then they flop. So
yeah, and looking at their playoff picture right now, I don't think they can afford another loss on their schedule because they play the Buccaneers twice in a span of 3 games, and they get the Seahawks as that other filler game. Whereas the Buccaneers in their filler game get the Dolphins. So even if the Panthers go 1-1 with the Bucs, if they lose to the Seahawks and the Bucs beat the Dolphins, the Bucs take that spot. So there is a good chance the Panthers are going to have to sweep their last 3 games or hope the Buccaneers lose to the Dolphins. That's really how it's going to have to be.
Yeah. I mean, it just is like what you've seen Shuck do these last couple of weeks is just what I feel like I'm waiting to see Bryce do. It's like Shuck is the rushing offense for New Orleans. Shuck is the engine. And anytime it's obviously not working on the ground with the running backs, Shuck makes something happen. And it's like with Bryce, it's hit or miss. It's like if it's his day to do that, he'll do it. If it's not, it's not. So the fact that we're sitting here saying, I think I might say I can take Tyler Shuck over Bryce Young. Like long term, if I was given the option as a franchise to choose what quarterback to build around, Bryce Young or Tyler Shuck, I don't think I should be, screamed at for saying Tyler Shuck, given what both of these guys have put on tape this year, especially Shuck in such a short term, on very odd terms with the way they, juggled their quarterback situation, and a lot less to work with for that matter. The offensive line is not as good. Talking about the running backs, he's got Chris Olave. They lost Shaheed. He really didn't have Shaheed for a better part of the starting games he's played. So
Mason Tipton and Devon Vele looks like a stud out there nowadays with him. So he's been put at a pretty stark disadvantage for a first-year starter, and we've already seen huge leaps and bounds in his play and his confidence, and it's the kind of leaps and bounds we've been hoping to see for Bryce in his 3 seasons as a starting quarterback. So to see a very minimal amount of growth, both physically and metaphorically, from Bryce Young in 3 years, it's kind of weird. It's kind of really weird.
Yeah, the bit is getting old. I think over it.
It is kind of a bit where it's like, just give him a chance. He's young, he's still getting better, and he is kind of getting better. Like, we see those games where he can take on the Rams and he crushes the Falcons, but everything else in between is just so third round pick right now. Yeah, that's just kind of how he plays like a third round pick quarterback, and that's like a good one, but like for a first overall guy, that'll set your franchise back.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. He plays like, if he was taken in the third round, you're like, okay, you know what? We're kind of happy with the product we're seeing right now because we didn't expect this. Yeah. But he's also going to have his bumps in the road, so you're okay with it. But yeah, no, especially not when you traded everything you traded for that pick on top of it.
It was Caleb the next year, and it was CJ Stroud was the quarterback directly behind him. So, and I think it would definitely be very safe to say you would prefer either of those quarterbacks over Bryce Young. So not to shit on the Panthers in literally every episode. It's just, it's hard when they are like the most polarizing team who is either beating the shit out of really good teams or losing to horrible teams. Like, they are the most talk aboutable team in the league right now.
They certainly are. And once again, we're not employed to have answers. We like to think we sometimes do, but they're one team we don't know.
No,
we don't know what you do.
I've done multiple mock drafts for every single team. Saints are not that hard. I honestly feel like I come away pretty happy with it. The Panthers, I feel like I get done and none of it made sense. Like, there's still holes here, but there's also still not that many holes. It's really weird.
Well, let's move on to what was one of the most anticipated games of probably our generation, to be perfectly honest. Like, that might be an exaggeration, but Phillip Rivers coming out of retirement to play a football game was something to behold. And it went a lot better than the internet thought. Let's just put it that way. For a guy that was going up against quite possibly the scariest defensive front in the league, he stood strong. He held his own. And I think Phillip Rivers' whole thing going into this experiment with the Colts was, dang gummit, I'm not scared. Prove you can do anything. Just see what happens. Don't be afraid. And I think he was successful in his mission. If that's really, aside from getting his kids extended health care, I think he also achieved his goal in proving like, hey, look, it might look like a really, really dumb and stupid idea, but you just never know what happens. So you might as well go try.
I mean, he was one of the best quarterbacks of our generation. It's not like we're throwing out, Ryan Leaf out there. Like, we actually have like there is a really, really good football brain in that guy, and it's not like he's having to pace himself for a 17 game season. He gets to kind of put balls to the walls and just see what happens for just a very small amount of games, maybe even only one. So it was really cool to see him put it all out there, and like you said, he played a lot better than I think a lot of people thought. And he didn't have a lot of support. Like, they didn't have a run game. Obviously, like, the Seahawks would stack the box and like kind of make Phillip beat you. It's smart defense, and it worked out well for him. But He made a couple throws. He threw a touchdown. He didn't throw a pick until the very last drive, which happens to most quarterbacks when they're trying to push the ball downfield on a final drive with seconds left. So I'm cool with it. I feel like those people that were going into this game trying to find something to laugh about and like point and make fun of it. It's kind of strange. Like this was definitely one of the coolest things we've ever seen at the quarterback position to come back. Like last time he was quarterback, like COVID had just started. That was when he retired. Was when COVID had just started. We've been done with the pandemic stuff for years now. To put that into perspective.
Yeah, he entered one of his first press conferences and said, "No Zoom." Like he's expected to be on like Zoom conferences, which is just, it's crazy to think about that's the era we once were in. But you're right. He is a football brain, and that was kind of like the predicament that I don't think people were quite understanding. Like I heard a lot throughout the week just from people, I work with, I'm friends with. They're like, there just has to be someone better out there. There has to be someone else. And it's like, they had two options in a position they're in right now where they want to try and save their playoff life. They have two choices: go and get a quarterback that isn't good, but also doesn't really know the scheme. So you're going to have to try to get them up to speed in a short week, which is usually never something that works out. Or B, you get somebody that probably really isn't physically capable, but at least he understands where the offense is at and what they're trying to execute. And when you're trying to win a football game, or the small amount of football games you have left, and you're just trying to steal one or two of them, you're better off going with the one that you don't have to get up to speed. That's where your chances are going to be better. So it made sense, and it almost worked out. The fact that they really probably should have won this game is insane. I think it would have done irreparable damage to Sam Darnold. In fact, I would go as far as to say that I think this game still should do irreparable damage to Sam Darnold's reputation. Why is this guy still considered a top 12 quarterback? Did he play terrible? No. But the fact that you were given how many opportunities to win, they were losing most of this game, if I don't even, right? They were down like,
I think so,
most of the game, which is
they just kicked a ton of field goals.
Like, what are we doing? He was 22 for 36 for 271. So that's better than I even thought it was. But man, like you can't get, I don't want to say outplayed by a 44-year-old man that hasn't played in 5 years, but you just can't. You just can't.
I honestly, like, my biggest takeaway when I looked at this team was, God, the Seahawks, as much as they try to run the ball, they can't. They can't do it. They tried like hell, but like, I mean, these stats that they had on there, I mean, Ken Walker, 9 carries for like 18 yards. No, sorry, 17 yards. I was being generous. Zach Charbonnet was their best rusher, 8 carries for 31. Like, they don't have a guy that can push 4 yards a carry on the squad right now. Like, they didn't throw any interceptions. He only took 1 sack. It's just they can't run the ball. Like, it's the weirdest looking thing ever because they really, really act like they can.
Yeah, that was like, especially in the preseason when they put belt to ass against the Chiefs. Yeah. It was because every single running back on their roster was averaging 10 yards a carry in that game. But that has been really their Achilles heel, which is crazy to say because that, like I was saying, was where we thought they were going to do most of their damage. You bring in Cooper Kupp. We thought we were going to see a lot of 12, maybe even 13 personnel. Like, oh, look out. The Seahawks are going to run down your throat with their 4 running backs. Well, nope. They're going to throw for a bajillion yards to one receiver. That's really been the crux of it. And it's working, but is it championship caliber? No. And like I said, I just don't think if you want to put Sam Darnold in these top 10, 12 conversations, I think Darnold has to be a guy that you can lean on to elevate your offense when something like your running game isn't working. And he's just not that. I want to circle back to the Colts final drive. They got to like wherever on the field the 60-yard field goal is. It was 4th and 4. Do you think in hindsight it's okay to say maybe they should have tried to go for it and not leave Seattle time? Or should you always still kick there?
I probably would have just kicked there. Like, they didn't leave. Like, I mean, they left. Like, Seattle scored that field goal in 29 seconds. Like immediately, first play, Sam Darnold rips off a 17-yard pass, then an 8-yard pass, and they get a 56-yard field goal. That's just unfortunately how it went. Like, I think part of it is the new kickoff rules. Like, they got the ball at looks like the 37 is where they got to start from. So, like, I don't like you can't give up like 2 passes or else it's an instant field goal, which is kind of why it's pretty tough. But yeah, I mean, immediately they were screwed when Sam Darnold hit Shaheed for a 17-yard pass. Like, I would rather, in this instance, lean on my defense that's played pretty well all game than lean on Phillip Rivers. As much as I love him, he did his job. He got him down there. I'm not going to ask him to do anything else because I think that he overperformed how he was supposed to be honest. So I think he did his job. Defense, go do your job. They did not do their job and they lost the game. But overall, it was good execution by the Seahawks to go, get points in like 15 seconds.
Yeah, that is a fair way to look at it. Like, who are you going to rely on more, your defense or Phillip Rivers? That it's fair. It's fair. But, I also think to olive branch it, like, I don't like the fact that a kickoff more likely than not is getting you to the 30 plus yard line when you have kickers that are just booting them from 60, 58 to 62 yards in that range on a relatively consistent basis. It just doesn't feel like a positive thing for the game. I feel like we've talked about this before, but I just don't think that's not where games should be won, I guess. Like, I know special teams matters. It's a very important phase. I appreciate it. I was a kicker myself. Hell, I just don't think like the Seahawks in that situation should be able to complete one 18-yard pass and pretty much have the game won. Yeah, I don't feel good about that.
No, I mean, because generally speaking, to hit a difficult field goal, you want to get to the 40-yard line, the opponent's 40-yard line. And if you can return your kick to if you can get it at your 30, you don't have to go that far. Like, it's legitimately like 2 reasonably sized first downs and you're there, which is super strange. So I like you said, I'm not a fan of that. I feel like you should have to go farther on a football field to earn some points, especially with, kickers being made fun of now for missing 59-yard field goals. Like, it's a different NFL. So I think there's a lot of good things that came from it. I think these like 30, 20-second drives with very limited timeouts are happening a little bit too frequently, though.
I agree entirely. I just don't know how you really, I guess, fix it. I don't think they're going to change it.
I don't get paid enough for that. Yeah, so I don't know.
Well, in any event, we had some other very, very entertaining football games. More entertaining than these other ones, I would suggest. The Bills and Patriots was insane. Like, as the Bills fan I regretfully am, I think anyone could, kind of understand why we were all like ready to just say, fuck this halfway through the first quarter where we're down like 21-0, or was that at the start of the second? It's like, why do we even turn on our television? What's the point? Like, we're sitting here spending our valuable time. We get 2 days out of the week to do jack shit. Us middle-class, hardworking people, we're sitting down to take 4 hours of the, 20 we're conscious on those weekends to watch your sorry asses, and you're going to go out there and look like that? But, of course, I eat crow because they just have to do whatever the fuck they do. But, wow. I don't even know what to say. Like, what the hell? Josh Allen, that's it.
I was legitimately getting mad in this game because I was just repeating all the things in my head. I was like, why is Josh Palmer playing? Like, all these different things that we've had where it's like he needs weapons. Like, it was the same talking points that I get pissed about talking about the Bills every single time. And I always feel so bad for Josh Allen because it's just like, you go carry us or we are going to lose by 3 touchdowns. But it also was on the defense. I mean, they gave up 3 touchdowns on 3 drives, like to start off the game, or 4 drives, which is still pretty bad. Like, Travion Henderson's just ripping touchdowns left and right. He was unbelievable. scoring from anywhere he wanted, but they did after the first, I would say 4 drives, they bottled up Drake May pretty bad. Like the only points they scored after, I think in the second half came because of a 65-yard rushing touchdown. Like they
which
kind
was
of
broken, which was really
yes,
a broken play, to be honest.
it was just him reversing field and having crazy speed. It wasn't like super designed to go that way. So yeah, I mean they did a really good job of adjusting and kind of figuring out how to get in Drake May's head and not give him the looks he wanted.
Totally. I think this was a sentiment I spoke to. Was it last week? Who did the Bills beat last week?
The Bengals.
The Bengals. Yes. Was it that game?
What about the
that
week
I was talking about it?
Before they beat the Steelers too.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Steelers, Bengals. Yes. Last week, I was kind of preaching how no one wants to give Sean McDermott credit in these parts of the woods. But once again, it starts ugly, but the second half, or the better part of what I would say 3/4 of this game, the defense figures it out. They always find a way. And this time, it wasn't off of some fluky, well-timed turnover that just happened, that just happenstanced into their lap. It was legitimate adjustments that were made. Like early in the game, the Bills do what they always do. Try to see, let's see if we can get pressure with just 4. It's like you fucking can't. Just accept it. But that's what they try to do. They're like, we'll rush 4 and we'll see what happens. Drake May sitting there in a lounge chair with a margarita next to him in the pocket, and he's just throwing layups to wide open players. It's like, yeah, you probably shouldn't let that happen anymore. So they finally start to mess with him in the pocket. They start throwing blitzes. Milano's playing at the line of scrimmage more often. It's like, okay, well, now he's starting to miss passes. Now you're starting to really disrupt the flow of the run game. And that's where everything really changed. And you can feel the momentum really, really kind of shift. The Bills score their first touchdown. They get a stop. It's 21-7. And you're like, okay, you get the ball back. You can make it 21-14. And it's kind of history from there. So McDermott, given what he's working with, an injured Joey Bosa, no Christian Benford in this game, and Stephon Diggs was basically a non-factor. Like, who would have thought? It was another very well-coached, very disciplined game, too. So I just am getting over the McDermott bullshit. And anytime something bad happens, it's like, oh, that McDermott's got to go. It's like, can you just watch the games, like, please?
Yeah. And there is like a pretty clear difference in their performance when McDermott goes from, kind of being, soft to being tough. And I think that it started off with a lot of people upset at him because like the very beginning of the game, Kayshon Boutte caught a huge pass that like kind of everybody was screaming, that's incomplete. That's incomplete. Like we all were kind of yelling. That ball was rolling around on the ground, and he allowed them to run up to the line. Didn't worry about challenging it. Just gave them like a 40-yard pass on 3rd and 7. Yeah. And that kind of rubbed people the wrong way. Like, this was a team you lost to last time you played them. Like, you need to play aggressive. Like, you can't just lollygag and beat this team again. And he started off that way, and I started getting kind of upset because they went down 21-0, 24-7 at half. Like, you're getting your ass beat by a team, and you're not playing that hard. And then second half rolled around, and they looked like they brought out an entirely different cast of guys, entirely different crew of coaches. Like, they were super aggressive, playing as hard as I've ever seen them play. Like, they came to dominate that second half, and they did.
It was cool to see because for a team that has also just been through so much bullshit, like they really, when I say can't stay healthy, I mean it. Like they have been struggling badly to have a healthy football team, and to see them, it's very high. The variance is high with what you get, but for these highs to be as high as they can be, I mean, holding Drake May to like 160, I think he finished with around there, is impressive. Yeah. Like he's had 200 passing yards plus in like each of his last 10 games, if I can remember correctly. And even if they did get gashed on the ground, it's like, who cares? Like maybe that narrative just needs to be killed. Like, oh wow, yeah, the Bills can't stop the run. Well, who cares? They force turnovers and they, force opposing quarterbacks into making mistakes in important moments. Maybe that's just enough. Like, if Ramondre Stevenson wants to run for 80 yards on 8 carries, then let him. Like, he can have it.
Yeah. That's something we've talked about too, is like having a specialty, having like an identity. And it kind of has felt like the Bills they're kind of cool not being a good run D, but they have taken it upon themselves to be a really good pass defense. I'd say they've been one of the best ones in the league this year. So, yeah, I mean, ever since Cole Bishop started popping off, Jordan Poyer came in, this defense felt like it kind of had an identity again, and this looks now like a team that can win a Super Bowl. Whereas first 6 games of the season, I probably would not have said that.
No, not at all. I still am concerned because, I think the lack of weaponry is going to bite us in the ass. And it just continues the jokes continue to write themselves for Brandon Beane. It's like, oh, your latest receiver acquisition got a deep target and dropped the football or didn't secure the catch because he was bobbling it and then he didn't get his feet down. It's like this karma has just been circling back and biting that guy in the ass for that fucking radio appearance just time and time again, and I revel in it. So it's awesome to see us be able to kind of fight through the adversity because, quite frankly, most of the top teams this year haven't. The Chiefs out of the playoffs. The Ravens today were more so just beating up on a very sad animal. And like, what else do you have in some of these top teams? It's just the Eagles. Like, you're not seeing a lot of teams, I feel like, dealing with the adversity the same way the Bills have. So I think there's a lot to be said about that too. A lot of intangibles, a lot of positive intangibles about what the Bills season has been, which people just, they don't care. They want results, which I get, but sometimes moral victories are important, especially when you contextualize what's going on in the rest of the league right now.
They are. And like, we've talked about it forever as well. Like, anytime Josh Allen plays well and gets any kind of help from any other person, James Cook, the defense, special teams, like, if Josh Allen is doing Josh Allen things and he's getting a little bit of help, they win like every single time. It's unfortunately, like, if he has a bad game, they lose. Or if he goes nuts and nobody else helps him at all, they lose. So it has to be Josh Allen and just a couple people step up, and they legitimately have a chance to beat anybody. Like, defense was improved. They still gave up 31 points. But James Cook played really, really well. Shakir, I thought, had a pretty solid game. Dawson Knox was good in the red zone. Like, a couple guys did things that, just past what they're supposed to be doing, and they scored 35 points.
Yep, agreed. And I think that they're just always making plays at the right time. That's really what encapsulates the Buffalo Bills. Is when push comes to shove and they need a play, 9 times out of 10 they're going to make it, unless it's against the Chiefs on the most important stage of the season. But that won't be a problem this year. So we'll see how that. Oh fuck! I don't want to think about that.
I remember they lost to the Bengals in like a snow game, but have they lost to anybody else in the playoffs since they've had Josh Allen?
No.
It's just the Chiefs and the Bengals that one game.
Yes. Well, the Texans in their first appearance in 2019, but
that's not even the same Josh Allen.
No.
Like, that was just Will Levis.
That was also that was also the most buffoonery game of all time. Just like the team of black coat referees, like, just on the sideline to determine that the return man didn't. Oh man, that was a joke. Oh, that reminds me, in this game, McDermott might not have thrown a challenge flag when Brandon Cook, when Kayshon Boutte dropped that ball. But why didn't replay assist chime in and be like, hey, that was dropped? But then for Brandon Cooks, just one drive later, they're like, oh shit, yeah, wait, no, he didn't catch that. Reverse that. It's like, why do they just pick and choose when they decide to win?
That's why I don't like this replay assist. Like, I get it, but it's these nerds that are sitting up there zooming everything, like putting everything in slow-mo, being weird. But for some reason, they are like, last week they just got a call completely wrong. that they had to get a call from New York saying you just called in a replay assistant. It was wrong, you idiot. And then they had to go back and refix it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're just missing plays that could completely ruin, the Bills' first drive on defense, and then they screw them over on offense on the next drive. Like it makes zero sense. I'm over it for now.
I feel like we need more insight into like who makes up this team and when they decide to chime in. I know for the sake of the NFL that the more transparency we have, the more problems it creates for them. But at the same time, too, I think it also solves some of the existing issues because we'll at least understand why maybe they didn't chime in when Brandon Cooks or when Kayshon Boutte dropped the ball. Like maybe we'll know, like, oh, they just got to the line fast and the guy on the replay booth like fumbled the mouse or something. Like who knows? Like just give us some sort of anything so we can understand why there's so much inconsistency. Like the less they tell us, the more we have to speculate, and then there's rigging rumors and all of the tinfoil hat people come out of the woodwork. It's like they create their own issues.
But some of them some of those tinfoil hat guys have arguments. Like I'm going to segue it to this Rams-Lions game where Stafford threw a touchdown with air quotes to Colby Parkinson, where it felt like to everybody that he was like a good 2 yards short. Like probably not even one, like maybe even 2 yards short. Like I was really struggling to find out how in any way they called that a touchdown.
I thought he dropped the ball too, or at least I thought it looked like it was moving.
It definitely could have dropped the ball too. Yeah, that was very much a possible. Like I wasn't even really watching for that, and then I saw somebody else point it out like with a different angle, and I was like, yeah, that might not even be a catch actually, let alone a touchdown. Like I don't know if it's like an ego thing where they caught on the field and they like really don't want to be wrong and have to admit it. So they're like, yeah, actually, that was a touchdown. But I don't know, like the Rams were scoring touchdowns like every single time they got inside the 5, they scored like every single time. So I don't understand why it would have been so difficult just to like place them on the 2 or the 1 and just have them run it in for like their 5th touchdown.
Yeah. I don't know. This was one hell of a game. This was, everything that you kind of hope that a Lions versus Rams game is. Fireworks, all your fantasy players are heavily involved, big plays happening left and right. Like this was everything that you hope it is. But
unless you're a Jahmyr Gibbs fan.
True. Holy shit. The one guy that does absolutely nothing.
Gone.
That's insane.
Banished.
Biggest week of the season for fantasy owners, and Jahmyr Gibbs drops
just dies, gets shot and dies. Yeah, it's insane.
But it was. The Rams did not look great, at least to start off. They started this game slow. Is basically what I'm trying to say. I mean, they were down 10 points. I think going into halftime, actually they were down. They were down 7, but they were trailing for a majority of the first half, and then after that, they slowly started to inch their way back, and Jared Goff just couldn't pick up a first down for a few drives, and the rest was kind of history. Then all of a sudden, Matthew Stafford happened.
Yeah,
that's really it.
That was kind of my main takeaway. Was like the quarterback play in this game. I thought was really impressive from both ends. I thought Goff played a really, really good game. And I think outside of that one pick early to a defensive end, Stafford also played an unbelievable game. Puka went stupid. Kind of had his own T. Higgins moment where he definitely looked like he died, and then they brought him back out. And then he looked like he was struggling after that, and they kept playing him. Devontae had his own issues. Like we talked earlier about all the injuries in these games. The Rams game was one of the main ones I started to notice. Like both Puka and Devontae definitely had some pretty big issues in this game.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, Devontae Adams had his hamstring explode. So I wouldn't be shocked if he was done for the year. Like that's the kind of thing that even if he's able to rehab and, maybe have an outside shot of returning, you're probably looking at the Super Bowl. And that's
he's old.
And he's old. And that's if he can, rehab on a fast-tracked path because he had been dealing with that for a while. Like this didn't just happen. Like this has been a lingering thing for him. And for it to finally give out, like that's huge for the Rams too, who have kind of fixed their red zone passing problems via Devontae. If that ends up being what comes back to bite them in the ass, I wouldn't be shocked because they, the only thing they're doing different is throwing more tight ends on the field. And I don't know if, that will be as difficult to solve as Devontae Adams on the 2-yard line.
Yeah, I mean, they were actually double teaming him, like straight up, like out of a cartoon when he was down there. And that's the right move. Like, make somebody else beat you. Like, don't let it be the guy that has like 15 touchdowns on the year.
Mm-hmm.
So, fair, but a really brutal loss. Puka looked like his was just head stuff, probably concussions. I don't know.
They said he had cramps when he went to the locker room.
I don't believe that for a
It was cramps.
Second. They smashed him in the face. He was laying like Tua. Like, I really don't believe for a second that he had cramps. I think that was straight, maybe brain cramps from being smashed. But yeah, whatever. It's a really good way just to not miss your best player. But yeah, I mean, just great offensive. I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown was outstanding. He had a really good game. Big plays to J-Mo. Really good game by Hutchinson. Like, it was an awesome game from all the stars, except Jahmyr Gibbs, because he just had to. He heard you talking last week and me talking last week about how great he's been. Possible offensive player of the year candidate, maybe, if we're getting crazy, and puts up the biggest stinker of his lifetime right when he's most needed by everybody on the planet. So, Jahmyr Gibbs, you are now a villain as far as I'm concerned.
Holy shit. J-Mo had 134 also. Holy crap. Yeah, wow.
Did they just have all their yards?
Yeah. Pretty much.
I know Amon-Ra, he had 164 and 2. J-Mo had 134 and 1. And then the next guy was Khalif Raymond, had 20 yards.
And that catch came like mid fourth quarter.
Yeah, that's nuts.
I
had no complaints about their passing offense. I mean, really good. But yeah, for Jahmyr to have 13 carries for 38, no scores. Monty almost caught him in yards with almost half the carries and had a touchdown himself. Like, definitely not the Jahmyr Gibbs game that they'll write about in books at any point.
Not in the least.
This is the book of bad running backs.
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna ask, like, do you think it's insane to suggest that Blake Corum is better than Kyren Williams? Can we have a conversation? Can we host one?
No.
Why? Why
would we?
Are we just afraid to face the reality, to smell the Corum roses about blossoming that we're seeing?
Like he had a good game, but Kyren had a good game.
Yeah. But
he had 15 carries for 78 and 2 touchdowns. I feel like that's pretty good. Corum almost had the exact same stat line, really.
I'm not saying Kyren played bad. It's just, what really is Kyren doing better than Corum right now? I don't know. Corum has been the exact spark, especially late game, that the Rams have been needing. Like, they need that guy to be able to pop that run through that gap when it's late and you're trying to chew that clock and you can pick up that first down. That is really what Corum is providing to them. And the ability he has to jump cut outside, the touchdown run he had, Kyren ain't doing that. Kyren ain't scoring the way that Corum.
I'll say for Corum the last 3 weeks, yeah. The other part of the season, no. Because last 3 weeks he's been outstanding. I mean, he averaged 11 yards a carry, 10 yards a carry, then 6.5. But the weeks before it was 1, 3, 4, 4, 3, 4, 2, 6, 2. So he is very much just like weirdly for him, he's kind of reliant on big runs, which is kind of a weird thing for someone like Corum. But yeah, popping off those 20s, those 15s, like that's kind of his thing. And kind of was at Michigan too. Like, he was definitely good for a couple 15-yard runs a game, but it wasn't quite as good at the chunk runs, like the 4 yards in a cloud of dust, power runs, which is weirdly kind of Kyren's thing, which is odd for him being kind of a smaller back. But Kyren's been honestly really, really good. Like, he hasn't had a bad game, maybe one since October. He's kind of been really good, actually.
Yeah.
He's now up to 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns on the year, averaging almost 5 yards a carry. Very good, Kyren.
He's had a good year. It's just
very good year.
You can see the door, the Blake Corum door opening. It's like
they just extended Kyren.
They also extended Ramondre a couple of years ago.
They are not the same thing. Don't do the Stevens.
Still drafted a running back. Is just saying.
He's in purgatory.
Who?
Jarquez Hunter. They put him in jail. He will never see the light of day ever again.
Well, they realized that Corum is actually like.
Maybe good.
Whether they realized it or he just started playing good. They got what they need out of Corum, so they're like, okay, maybe we just don't need Hunter.
Which sucks because they traded up for him.
Yeah, now he's
gonna rot because he actually is talented. Corum was a talented running back in college. He was a huge name.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know why they're shocked all of a sudden that like they have a good thing. Like this wasn't a hidden back on their team. Like they drafted him kind of high, like 3rd or 4th round, and like he was supposed to almost be the exact same thing as Kyren. Like that was the whole point. So it's really weird that they were like, yeah, trade up for Jarquez. We have nothing here. Really, really strange.
Yeah. Well, all I'm saying is a couple of weeks ago I said it, I got yelled at, and now it just is odd what's occurring these last couple of weeks. That's all I'm saying.
I think they'll still yell at you.
They will. That's because they just don't like what I'm saying.
Well, I've also been doing it with Michael Wilson versus Marvin Harrison.
Oh yeah.
Well, I honestly haven't gotten yelled at for it.
Well, it's just funny how that fucking works, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of similar.
The Chargers Chiefs, we'll jump to that game. While entertainment-wise, or maybe if you're an offensive fan, wasn't great, I do think that we were talking about pre-show, the implications of a game like this. Like it means so much more than just a 16-13 final, which I think was the score, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
And like we're not just talking about the Chargers keeping their playoff hopes alive, getting to 10 wins, and the Chiefs getting knocked out, but Mahomes goes and tears his ACL. This could be the quote-unquote end of the dynasty of Kansas City as we know it. This could be it for Travis Kelce, as like you mentioned earlier. If Mahomes misses a good portion of next year with this knee injury, Kelce is probably peacing out. So we really could be looking at the final days of, well, I guess the end of the Chiefs dynasty. And Andy Reid is not too young either. This is something I think we talked about like in the offseason, but this isn't some youthful sprite. He is 67, and at some point, these guys do start to fall off. I don't think that's what has happened in 2025 for Kansas City at all. But there is a cliff, and it kind of hit Belichick, early 70s. Obviously, Pete Carroll tried to come back. He just ain't it. So maybe if Mahomes misses time, like this really could be the start of when the Andy Reid regime starts to depart also.
I'm not even going to lie. I thought he was way older than that, too.
I thought so, too. I looked it up and I'm like, wait, this isn't going to
fit
my narrative.
75, yeah.
Like my narrative is shot.
Yeah, that's, I mean, still, like, it's not even about the age. It's about how he kind of looks and is. He's old. Yeah. That's what he is. So it is weird. Like, we have seen some teams kind of like the Rams where they are able to kind of put together 2 mini dynasties in one. Like, with they can retool and rebrand around the same thing, being Mahomes. Like, it's a pretty good thing to build around. And I think that there is potential there. Like, I don't think he's out of his prime for quite some time still. I think that he has potential to rebuild another dynasty, but just with this current squad, the way they currently do things, it does feel a little over. This isn't some light injury. We've seen Mahomes get ankle stuff. We've seen him have some minor stuff, but we haven't seen a quarterback of his magnitude get an injury of that magnitude since Tom Brady tore his ACL that one year where Matt Castle had to come in the next year and play weirdly well. But that was really the last time we've seen an injury this big to a player this big. So it's going to feel weird. It's a good time for it to happen, honestly, like weirdly to say, like in a time where they are mathematically out of the playoffs. They cannot make it. So this is just going to go down in their history books as the shittiest year in a very, very long time. And hopefully they can use this next year to rebuild on some draft capital. Maybe get Jeremiah Smith. If they're that bad next year, they could be that in position to get good draft capital and build something new. But yeah, it's bad for now.
It is. And I think the thing that if I was a Chiefs fan, I would be worried about outside of the Andy Reid noise and the Mahomes injury is Brett Veach. He caught rightful flack for his stinginess at the deadline, supposedly not moving a third-round pick for Breece Hall. That was the rumor. He certainly would have helped them had he made that move. Who knows what the season looks like? They still very easily could have missed the playoffs because the receivers really are the crux of the problem here. But still, you have that blunder, and then you have the 2025 draft class where Josh Simmons misses most of the year for circumstances unforeseen, of course, but the rest of it really not too impactful. Brashard Smith, your 7th-round pick, arguably one of the biggest impact players in a bad way. Like, we're talking like he was out there because they were that desperate, and it didn't mean it was good. And then you look at the year prior in 2024, Xavier Worthy hasn't lived up to much. Kingsley still can't say. Sua Mataya, he's been all right, but knocked out of the park, not necessarily. Same thing goes for the rest of that class. And then 2023, you got Rashee Rice in the second. He's been a terrorist. And then Felix and Adike Uzoma,
literally
Wanya Morris, Shamari Connor. Like, Brett Veach is on a little bit of a stinker watch right now. And if Andy Reid, is looking at his final time and Mahomes is going to miss a good portion of the year and you're losing Kelsey and your receivers suck and Chris Jones is your only good defensive player, it's like, can you trust Veach based off of his recent track record to do what the Rams did, kind of do a mini retool really fast? Right now, I would say no.
No. Because I think what the Rams have done really, really, really well is understand their situations. I remember before like 2 seasons ago when they got Kobe Turner and they got Byron Young and they completely retooled their pass rush. That year, I thought they were going to have the worst defense I've ever seen. Like, on paper, it was so bad before the draft, before free agency. And they probably thought the same thing, which is why they put so much attention into draft capital and free agents into their D-line and actually created a pretty good one. And they've built it good enough to add on to it with the draft. And now they have easily one of the best defensive lines, if not the best one, in the league. So it's understanding your own issues and not ignoring them or putting Band-Aids on them. And it's really aggressively attacking them. That's how the Rams have fixed this. And for them next, it's probably going to be linebacker and corner, maybe quarterback if Stafford retires. And I trust that they're going to do it for that too. But for the Chiefs, it's felt like they're a little bit too confident in their current team, kind of like the Bills and the Bengals that we've talked about, where they try to find good role players that fit with the current stars. They don't go trying to find new stars. And that's kind of how they've started to fade.
Totally. Like, they haven't had really anybody step up this season. And, the way that last year ended, no one really stepped up. And that's a good way to put it. They're trying to survive off of the fumes of the old/current stars instead of trying to find some new ones. Like, I think Kelsey, rightfully so, has caught flack for his performance in the Super Bowl. His effort was supposedly not there at times. And then this year he's been the catalyst of some big drops or just not being as involved, which people have raised an eyebrow at. But we're asking a 34, 35-year-old tight end to still be that 29-year-old he once was with, 1,200 yards and, averaging 100 yards per game. It's just, you just can't rely on that as long as they have. And it's been their Achilles heel. And, it kind of goes to show like, oh, Brett Veach is fine just rolling up Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco for the remainder of the season. It's like, try to go get that new star. Like, these guys serve a purpose. They used to be great. They do their job okay, but you need something else. You need a spark. And for him not to pull the trigger on that gives Brandon Beam vibes. So I completely understand the frustration that Chiefs fans are feeling. And like I said, if I was a Chiefs fan, that's what I would be concerned about is, do we really trust Veach to put this rebuild into motion correctly?
No, I mean, even like not even necessarily a rebuild. Like we saw what the Rams did. They saw Cooper Kupp was becoming a liability, and they read the room, and they were able to be honest with themselves and say, okay, this guy's done incredible things for our franchise. You know, we're going to help you out the entire way, but we got to move on. And they brought in a Devontae Adams that they thought they could afford and would improve their team, and he very much did. So it's being honest with yourself as a team, you know, really identifying your issues and being bold enough to move on and not stick with the guys just because they've done good things for you.
Yep. Very true. Very good points. The Chargers, who we barely talked about, I mean, it's whatever. It's the Chargers. Justin Herbert played exceptional, just as he always does. I don't know how behind that offensive line he is surviving without Ladd McConkey doing a fucking thing.
I hate that guy.
I hate that guy right now. Like, Ladd was supposed to be my king, my second round fantasy 1,500 yard, 115 catch receiver. And that guy is doing the most cardio of any number one receiver in the league right now. And I don't know why. I can't imagine he is getting that much attention. I don't know. I haven't sat down and watched full all 22 Chargers tape recently, but my goodness, man.
Couldn't pay me to do that.
No.
God, Ladd McConkey. But like, it's not even like anyone else is really doing anything. Like, he had 3 targets, dude. That's insane. Like, Aronde Gadsden was their best receiver. Trey Harris was out there as their second best receiver. Keenan Allen had 7 targets, had like 30 yards out of it. Like, it's not like anybody else is really taking his stuff. Like, early in the year, Johnston was he was kind of relevant. He's dead. Like, nothing. Keenan Allen was good for a week. He's dead. Ladd was supposed to be the guy, and he was for like 2 months, where he did come back and was like, okay, reminded us all why he was their receiver 1, and then now he's dead. They got nothing. This is also not a Super Bowl team to me. Unless their defense can just carry them completely to wins. I don't see this be an offense that scores like 28 in a playoff game.
No, not at all. This is they are crappy team. They're playing super, super hard. I mean, like, you can see the heart and soul that goes into every down from these guys. But that's taxing to play like this. Like, the level they're playing football at with what they're dealing with it just isn't sustainable. And I could see this being a wild card exit that goes pretty south. Like, we're talking like, I wouldn't be shocked if the Chargers went out in the wild card and just laid an egg, depending on who they played. Like,
I could see them weirdly being Commanders-y, but they're just that scrappy with a good quarterback where like they just make it happen. But I could definitely see that, like them playing like the Broncos or Patriots, and they lose by like 3 scores.
Yeah, it's just like one of almost like in a Bills versus Bengals blowout kind of way. It's like you just have dealt with so much this season, and here you are. You know, you've made it to where you've wanted to really get to, and you just run out of gas. Like, you just got nothing left to give, and you just go out there and just fucking shit yourself. But you're right. It could go the other way too. They're another team that it's very hard to read what's going on in Los Angeles.
They are.
It's not hard to read.
Oh, yeah. That's what I was about to say. Yeah. Not hard.
It's not hard to read what's going on with the Packers and the Broncos. I mean, wow, what a game. Holy fucking shit. Bo Nix, have my kids. Like, what the fuck was that? That was crazy. Wouldn't you say the same? No.
I wouldn't quite say the same, but I would say that was a crazy game. Yeah, he was definitely the best game I've seen Bo Nix play ever. And especially against a Packers team that's a really, really good defense. This was the kind of game that can make the Broncos a Super Bowl team. Obviously, it's not sustainable to ask him to do that every single time, but just show us like half of that. Give us half of that, and then that team wins the Super Bowl with how good their defense is. And their defense kind of stunk it up, honestly, towards the beginning of the game. Like Packers receivers were wide ass open. Josh Jacobs was irrelevant. He was relevant again today. He mossed somebody like bad. I was like, who's that fat guy bossing? Oh my God, that's Josh Jacobs. Wow. Thought that was a fullback. But yeah, it was awesome. Like that was the one time where that was honestly the one time where it felt like the defense was failing him and he just stepped up and took over. Because usually it kind of feels like the defense carries him. They're barely winning. They lose. They're down by like 3 with a minute left, and he gets a drive and they kick a field goal and they win or something. But this was the first game where it felt like he put the team on his back and won them the game.
100%. It's insane to conceptualize, but Bo Nix in this capacity with the tools he has, we're looking at potentially a top 7 quarterback. If this was the consistency we saw from him, like week in and week out, he has everything you could combine to make him that level of guy. It just is, obviously the consistency is really the problem, but the comparison I made earlier in my head was, it was like he was like the perfect combination of out of structure and then pocket play, like yin and yang in a way, where anytime he was given that time in the pocket to drop back and deliver, he was pinpoint, he was accurate, he was on time. But then when something broke down, he has the legs to change the direction. He has the throw on the run ability to make any play when there's chaos ensuing. So when you put those things together, you're looking at an unstoppable force. And that's really what he was today. And it's gonna, if he continues to heat up, it feels like he's getting warmer as the year has progressed. Like he started off freezing cold to the point where like this guy's not even top 32. And then we got to a point where we're like, okay, yeah, they're not really winning because of him, but he did make a throw or two at the end that sealed the deal or that won them the game. It's like, okay, at least there's that. But now we're getting to like really like the oven is preheated. Like we're at 400 degrees and all of a sudden Bo Nix is like a top 10 guy. If that keeps up, like you said, this is definitely at the top of the Super Bowl contenders list.
I think they very well could be. I mean, like when you put it like that and you combine all the things that make a contender, we've talked about them before. I think being hot at the right time is huge. We saw the Commanders and the Eagles do that last year where they had their struggles, but God, they were hot down the stretch. And that's kind of, they carried that momentum into the playoffs and kick butt. You talk about injuries, like they have J.K. Dobbins, and that's it. Like they're pretty healthy. They're not really missing a lot of their key starters. They've really done a good job of staying healthy and managing their guys, and are possibly, God willing, going into the playoffs with all of their best players, which is a huge deal. And like you said, like they've also just progressed. Like they haven't plateaued. It's not even about even getting hot. It's just like going through adversity, like the Bills, where like they've gone through a lot of really close, tough games, and they found themselves on the winning side of them. Like winning is now a habit of theirs. Like they're figuring out how to do it. So I would say I feel really, really good about them. And if I had to put odds on anybody, I'd probably put it on them in the AFC.
Yeah, for sure. It's scary, man. Like seeing Pat Surtain make like the diving interception type of plays that he made in this game on one side of the ball, and then Bo Nix snatching edge rushers' ankles and then throwing on the run, rolling left, dime in stride. It's like it's one of those games where I empathize with the Packers. Like you just throw your hands up and you're like, well, we just got outplayed. Like there's nothing we did wrong. We just lost. Like that was how good of a game that the Broncos really played. And speaking of the Packers accepting fate, I don't see this team making a run in the NFC without Micah Parsons. They are back to, I don't want to say square one, but the expectations you had for the Packers before Micah Parsons was acquired is where I think I would reset them to.
And I was talking about it earlier with a friend, but I said this Packers team feels more like this is the Packers team I know more because they have no Watson now, possibly with his injury. So like I feel like I have watched this team without Watson more than I have watched them with Watson because he's been hurt so much in his career. This is the familiar Packers. And it's not as good of a product. Like he was so impactful to them, even outside the stat sheet, which wasn't bad. Like he was putting up, pretty decent stat sheets, but his impact, like we've talked about before, is so big. And for him to go down immediately, you saw how much worse Jordan Love was. Down the stretch, he needed big guys to make big moments. Wicks sold. Other guys sold. Jaden Reed was cool. It was cool to see him get going a little bit, but yeah, not enough. Golden was cool, not enough. They needed Watson. He wasn't there anymore. They needed Parsons. He wasn't there anymore. And they're not the same team without those two.
No. And while the Packers are a team that hasn't suffered a large quantity of injuries, the quality of them have been, insurmountable. If we somehow had a graph of teams that have suffered injuries and the impact that the injuries have had to that respective team, I think the Packers would be at the top. I mean, they lose their original steam engine in Tucker Kraft for the season. And then in this game alone, they lose the guy that has made them a Super Bowl contender in Micah Parsons. And then they also lose the receiver that they, like you said, has notoriously made their operation work. Like, I get in theory why, but it also still, especially with who they have behind him now, it still is a little odd to me that they stutter as much as they do.
Mm-hmm.
But they have. He's just the secret sauce. So...
yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's just that he's been with LaFleur for the last 5-ish years, but yeah, it legitimately I'm not even talking about watching the film and breaking it down. I'm just talking about the product. Clearly, when he was there and then when he wasn't, two completely different teams. The stat sheet shows it that everything shows it that they are just not the same.
Mm-hmm. It's it's I'm trying to think of a food comparison. It's like if you had a Big Mac and you have two Big Macs sitting in front of you. One Big Mac has the original Big Mac sauce on it, and you're familiar. But then you have another Big Mac. You don't know the difference between the two just by looking at them. But it has a homemade Big Mac sauce. And it's it tastes fine, but it's not quite a Big Mac. And you're there's something off about this. But
I've never had a Big Mac, but I
what?
No.
What?
No.
Are you crazy?
I don't think so.
I'm giving you homework. Your homework is to have a Big Mac this week. Have you ever eaten McDonald's?
That's not that hard to do. Yeah, I've had McDonald's.
What do you get?
Nuggets. I go there once a year, max.
That's fair. I mean, I'm not.
Or I usually get breakfast, honestly.
Breakfast?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you're gonna have a Big Mac this week.
I'll get a McGriddle.
Okay. Well,
Really
if you
good.
can eat a McGriddle, you can have a Big Mac.
Yeah. I just haven't done it, so I don't get the reference. But
all right.
I understand. I think I get it.
Yeah, it's like the Big Mac on the left has the Big Mac sauce from McDonald's, but then the one on the right was made the exact same way. But you're well, why isn't it the same? I don't know. It just isn't.
I don't know. I mean,
weird.
Why can't Wicks not play on games that are not Thanksgiving? Yeah. I don't understand. Why does he suck on every day
I don't know.
that people don't eat turkey on? It doesn't make sense.
If
if I would have gotten my family together and eaten turkey today, he would have been great. But for some reason, he sucks, and I don't get it.
I don't know. I think they need some Cortland Sutton in their lives because he reactivated today, and I was elated.
He is outstanding every 5 games. Just today, he was great. It wasn't even the catches; he was just getting open.
Yeah,
it's not a thing we ever see from Sutton. It's usually him mossing the shit out of somebody. But today he was like double moving people.
Yeah.
It was good, really good. I was He's actually open all the time.
That's
great.
Like mid fourth quarter, they went for it on 4th and 3, and Sutton was 1-on-1. He won at the line of scrimmage. He had a nice release, and he just beat, I don't know who it was, Nixon or Valentine, whoever he was 1-on-1 with. He just flat out won. It's like, yeah, like you said, wow, this is cool.
It's not normal though. Like you're not used to that, but it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. If he can add that to his tool bag, they're winning the whole thing.
Dude, I will victory. If Cortland Sutton goes on this insane heater with Knicks and they ride the same roller coaster to heaven for the rest of the season, I will be so vindicated for Cortland Sutton.
If he wins Super Bowl MVP, I don't even know. I just wanted to say that, but like we will get Caveman will buy you all 100 shirts.
Whoa, whoa, and Oz will eat.
I will eat 1 Big Mac.
No, we'll eat 100 Big Macs.
I'll eat 100 T-shirts. I will eat all those T-shirts.
Well, my final question for you regarding this week is not about a game in itself, but it's about a player, and I feel like there's a lot of buzz about it, so we have to touch on it. Are you moved by Trevor Lawrence's 6-touchdown performance against the Jets?
So I've thought about it a lot, even in the last hour, because we talked about it briefly before. But like, yeah, because the whole thing with Trevor, because we talked about it, and I was like, I mean, the throws weren't crazy. He was checking it down and he was hitting simple throws, but we don't need to see fantabulous stuff from Trevor Lawrence. We've seen that before. We just need to see him stop being so stupid. Yeah. And he was hitting the right checkdowns. He wasn't throwing checkdowns with linebackers in the way. Like, he was doing the right stuff, which in my head, I was like, well, I'm not going to like freak out over a quarterback doing the right stuff. Like, he didn't do anything crazy. But that's perfect because we've seen him do crazy. Yeah. We've just never seen him do the right stuff. But now he's doing the right stuff. So yeah, fuck yeah. Like, keep doing that. And I'll be very moved.
Yeah, that is a very nice way to frame it. It's like we know Trevor can be a maniac, but it's like, why can't you do the easy things? Why is it so difficult for him to like write his name on the paper? Like, he'll do the math equation, but then forget to write his name. It's like, dude,
why don't you turn it in?
Yeah, he'll do the homework, but he's like, yeah, I just didn't get it. I got a 0 because I forgot to hand it to the teacher. It's like, what are you doing, dude? Like,
yeah, that's the most frustrating student because they're smart. you know that kid's smart, but he has ADHD and he can't turn his stuff in and he procrastinates and like he has bad grades. Like, Trevor Lawrence has had bad grades. He's had bad stats, and they don't win games forever because he hasn't been a good quarterback. He's been a good thrower. A good passer, a good athlete. He's never been a good quarterback. But in this game, he quarterbacked the game very well. And he also made a couple throws in between that were really impressive. So easily one of the best performances I've seen him make ever.
Totally. Yeah. I hope that this can compound with Trevor. Like, that throw, he made a throw on 3rd and 10 where he just immediately booked it out of the pocket because it started to crumble, and he was rolling left. This guy's like I'm watching it now. He is about 5'10". He's about 20 yards behind the line of scrimmage rolling left, and he's able to twist his body, barely set his feet, and then launch to a crossing Parker Washington. Like, that's awesome. Yeah. But we don't need, like you said, that's not what we need to see. We need to not have the bonehead stuff in between. So hopefully we're able to build on this and he doesn't have a Bryce Young follow-up moment. Sorry, Bryce.
Yeah. Yeah. I do think like what we've seen from these quarterback resurgences, Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold, like Ryan Tannehill, like all these guys that start off pretty mediocre and become good. Part of it's age, but a lot of them have a lot of things in common. Like, they are, taller, kind of semi-athletic, big arm pocket passers that were all pretty high-end draft picks. And they all kind of hit their stride around 27, 28, 29 years old. And Trevor Lawrence, I think he's about 26, almost 27. So if he follows in the same footsteps as every single recent quarterback resurgence, he's not far off from kind of actually becoming a really good player.
Yes, and kudos to Liam Cohen. If he's able to really, really reel this one in, it would be a big accomplishment because Trevor Lawrence is, not gotten the best hands drawn to him, but he also hasn't done his superiors many favors. So if he's able to really reel this fish in and, get him in line, then, we're looking at a dangerous trio of GM, head coach, and quarterback for the foreseeable future, which was the plan. It's taken a few weeks of this season to feel confident in it.
Yeah, now they could win the 1 seed somehow.
Yeah, fuck me, man. What a
That'd be awesome.
What a whack ass season. What are we doing? Like,
makes no sense.
Does anyone know anything anymore? Like, I feel like we get to a point every season where we're like, maybe we just don't know shit.
Like,
but
if I would have told you like preseason that right now the Jags have the chance of the number 1 overall seed, Travis Hunter had nothing to do with it, and Phillip Rivers just started a game. Like, you would have just canceled me.
Oh, and BTJ sucks. Yeah, that too.
Oh, he's awful. He's like their 4th best receiver. Yeah. Like Parker Washington and Jacoby Myers are by far better.
Oh, Jacoby Myers, he's on the team. Yeah.
Yeah, he's on the Raiders. What do you mean?
Jacoby?
You idiot. Yeah. Cole Van Lanen's the best lineman by far on that team.
I probably would have spit on you. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that we've made it to this point in the year. Yeah, there's always like the final quarter of the season, just stupid shit starts happening every year. It's just nonsensical. This is where my picks always fall off too. Like, it gets toward the end of the year, and I'm like trying to think about it, but I'm like, I don't know. Like, why this week did the Bengals put up 0 points against a team they've notoriously torched? I don't know.
Makes 0 sense.
I don't know. But this is the kind of stuff that happens at this time of year. But that will wrap up our thoughts, opinions, takeaways for week 15. If you have thoughts of your own, leave them down in the comments. You can join the Discord and have some follow-up conversation with us, linked in description. But if you enjoyed, as always, like, comment, subscribe, share. We will see you in episode 82.